Alright guys, welcome back to another one of my videos, and today we're here to talk about my new machine added to the arcade collection, which is obviously the one right here behind me, and that is Golden Tee 2022. I finally got the pedestal version of Golden Tee. Obviously you guys have seen me on this channel do the Golden Tee review for Arcade 1UP for a while, and those machines are great in their own right, but there's nothing like Golden Tee 2022. Of course, it's with the updated graphics, it's with the full pedestal and all that kind of stuff that we're going to get into in this overview in the video. But there's even more going on in this particular build. It's not just Golden Tee 2022, which we'll go over in the overview. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but the two marquees over there, you can see Golden Tees on the bottom, but the top one actually is the Arcade Collection. Now, what is the Arcade Collection? Well, the Arcade Collection is something that Incredible Technologies is actually coming out with at the end of August. They're going to have their own pedestal that actually has artwork for the Arcade Collection sitting in there, and it comes with 3 games, which is Silver Strike Bowling, Powerputt, Minigolf, and Target Toss. 3 of their critically acclaimed games, along with Golden Tee that everyone loved back in the day for the bars and stuff. They haven't really updated those games in a while or anything, but they each had their own pedestal. And for me, obviously, even though I always wanted those games, I always wanted a Silver Strike and a Golden Tee, I knew it wasn't feasible on any stretch to have 4 arcade pedestal machines. It was already hard getting this one in the house and finding room for it, but the fact that those games originally required 4 different pedestals was obviously never made sense, and I knew it was always out of reach. And then, so I always had that contemplation of what should I do. Well, I got the Golden Tee 2022, and I started looking into it, and then I saw the Arcade Collection was coming out, and now all 3 of these games are basically on one board and on one machine. And even better for me, I was able to have someone actually put the Arcade Collection that would have been in its own pedestal into the same pedestal that's sitting here, which is the Golden Tee 2022. So now I have all the games in one pedestal unit, and I'll show you guys how the switching works and how all that kind of rotates in when we go in the overview. But I'm super excited to have this machine as part of my collection. Like I said, it was my #1 machine that I've always wanted to have in my arcade ever since I got into arcade collecting and Arcade 1UP and stuff. This is the machine I always had my eye on. So let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a brekkie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so let's start off with an overview of the arcade machine here and everything that is going on. So here is the Golden Tee pedestal. As you can see here, this is the design of it. This is the Golden Tee top. This is the newer top. They do have older ones that say Golden Tee Live and stuff, but this is the Golden Tee that's been around for the last couple of years. IT logo on the side, all that stuff. And of course, it has the digital pad up here where you log in for online play that we'll talk about in a few minutes. And it has all of the buttons that you're used to for Golden Tee, of course, with everything labeled appropriately. As you can see here, it came with a marquee, so I have the marquee sitting right there for Golden Tee 2022. And then I have a 43-inch TV that I added into the room that specifically works with this cabinet. Of course, with this cabinet, you could get a stand that goes behind it and then have the TV attached to the stand, but for me in this room, it made no sense. Of course, this being a dining room / bar area that we have going on, I decided to have it kind of just hanging on the wall. That made more sense there. And then, of course, we have the Arcade Collection on the top of that, which we will talk about, and you can see there that it comes with Powerputt Golf, Silver Strike Bowling, and Target Toss Pro that has lawn darts and bags in one game. So fantastic stuff. So let's talk about first how this actually works with 2 switchers here. So the way it actually works is that there's actually 2 computers in here. Let me show you guys real quick. So I just opened up the unit for you guys so you guys can kind of see what is going on inside. So of course these are all the controls here on the top, and there's the trackball and all that stuff going on up there. But here on the top here is the Golden Tee 2022 PC. So this is the Nighthawk PC sitting up here. And I can't really show you underneath right now, but basically right underneath that PC is another PC, and that is running the Arcade Collection. So there's basically 2 PCs in this machine. There's one HDMI cable going to this, and one HDMI cable going out from the other PC from the Arcade Collection, and they both go to my TV on 2 different inputs, essentially. So we have that going on there. Then if we flip over to the other side of the machine, you can see we have the CID chips over there, which are these little ones right here for each of the games. And then right underneath that, we have the board, and that is the switcher underneath there. So basically, what the switcher does is even though we have an HDMI cable going from each of the PCs, which you would think would mean, hey, I could just switch to each HDMI input and then I could play the games on the drive. Well, the problem is that the game that you're playing needs to know that you're actually switching the game, so it knows to switch to the controls. Because obviously now, if I switch from Golden Tee to the arcade collection, these controls need to switch to the other game. So if you guys take a look, I know it's a little tight back here, underneath here, on the back here, you can see that I have two buttons here. I have the arcade collection, and that one's a little bit hard to see because of the light, but Golden Tee is sitting right there, so they're both labeled. So right now it's on Golden Tee, and then arcade collection. So basically all I would do is if I'm playing Golden Tee, I would turn the machine on, and then Golden Tee would start up. I'd be on the right HDMI input. Let's say it's HDMI input 1. And then I just hit that button in the back, and now the controls are kind of set for Golden Tee right here as you're looking at, and then we can go ahead and play. If I wanted to switch to the arcade collection right now, you don't have to power it down or anything like that. This all works on the fly. So basically both computers are running essentially because they're always going on. And basically all you would do is you would obviously switch your HDMI input on your TV to HDMI 2, and then hit that button on the back so the controls switch, and then that's it. You're in the arcade collection mode to basically rotate. So it's hot swappable. You don't have to like power down the whole unit and then go back to the other one. No, it's all on the fly. You could just tap those two buttons in the back, rotate the HDMI inputs, and you're good. The only thing that I want to mention, so you guys all don't make the same mistake I did, is that this TV only has two HDMI inputs because I didn't get some crazy 4K TV. I just wanted something decent for this setup. And it is a 4K TV, even though it's not needed because it's obviously a 1080p unit. But obviously I use this TV in here for more than just this. What you can't do is you can't get like an HDMI splitter, or at least any of the ones that I tried don't work, because this unit is very specific. With the way that the switcher works and how it's all hot swappable and stuff, those HDMI cables need to be plugged in before the game powers on. Otherwise it won't work. So if I were to have the HDMI input 1 unplugged for Golden Tee, for example, and I started the machine up, arcade collection would work, but when I switched to the other input, even if I plug the HDMI cable in, it won't actually function. I have to power down the whole unit and then power it back on. So that's something to keep in mind, because I wanted to use like a splitter since I only had two HDMI inputs for a Chromecast that I had plugged in. But even the splitter, when you split them up, when you go back and forth, it doesn't pick up the signal. So it's very particular in how that stuff works, with the way that switching works. So just know that before going in if you want to set one of these up. It needs two dedicated HDMI inputs, and the two PCs in the machine are always going to be running, obviously, so then you can switch between them whenever you want. So yeah, guys, hopefully that gives you a good overview of the actual machine here. I will be doing a separate video going over Golden Tee 2022 and showing you guys a little bit of gameplay, and also what you guys can expect from the game, the courses and stuff like that. And I'll be doing a separate one for the arcade collection as well, going through each of those games and showing you guys. So subscribe to the channel. They'll be out later this week, each one with their own separate video. This was just an overview of the machine that I wanted to show you guys and tell you guys how I got this running, which is really cool. So let's go ahead and wrap up the video. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that video on the Golden Tee 2022 and arcade collection pedestal overview. So like I said in the beginning, this is my #1 machine that I wanted to have in the collection. It never made sense because I wanted all 4 of these games because they're great party games. We all know, obviously these games originated in bars. Some of these are still in bars and on barcades and stuff like that. And the reason is because they're great multiplayer games. And that's obviously what you guys know on this channel. What I love doing is having friends over and being able to play games like this with your friends when they come over. And that's exactly what these games excel at. And being on a pedestal format gives you the room that you want to have when you obviously slide across like that and have enough room to go with and fully hit that trackball as hard as you want, which obviously is a different experience than if you were to play a machine like the Arcade 1-Up and stuff, which is good in its own right, but obviously not as good as having enough room on these trackballs to kind of just get whatever you want and put your own screen of whatever size you want. But I hope this gave you a good overview on what you guys can expect if you get a pedestal like this yourself. These pedestals for Golden Tee 2022 run about $4,000. For that unit, or the arcade collection is also $4,000. It's obviously an investment. It depends on how much you actually want these machines and stuff, because it's obviously way more expensive than an arcade 1-Up machine would be, or other machines out there. But for me, who loves playing these games and now has all 4 of them on one machine, didn't have to get all 4 different pedestals like I was worried about when I first looked into this. I'm super, super happy with this machine. It's everything that I wanted it to be. And hopefully you guys got your questions answered in this video. If you guys have any questions that I missed, leave those questions down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.